Flaws of dispensationalism compared to full preterism based on scriptural context, audience addressed to and the time period tense relevancy. In this article, we will explore the flaws of dispensationalism when compared to full preterism. Dispensationalism and full preterism are two distinct theological perspectives concerning biblical eschatology. By examining their scriptural context, audience addressed, and the relevancy of time period tense, we can gain a deeper understanding of the weaknesses inherent in dispensationalism. Definition of dispensationalism and full preterism. Before delving into the flaws, let's establish a clear definition of dispensationalism and full preterism. Dispensationalism is a theological framework that divides history into different dispensations or distinct periods that God interacts with humanity in different ways. On the other hand, full preterism holds that all biblical prophecies, including the second coming of Jesus, have already been fulfilled in the past. Overview of dispensationalism. Dispensationalism gained significant popularity in the 19th and 20th centuries, particularly through the works of theologians like John Nelson Darby and C.I. Scofield. This perspective often interprets biblical prophecy in a highly literal manner, attributing distinct significance to events such as the rapture, tribulation, and a future millennial reign. Flaws of dispensationalism. 1. Misinterpretation of Scripture. One of the critical flaws of dispensationalism is its tendency to misinterpret Scripture. By adhering strictly to a literal interpretation, certain symbolic or metaphorical elements within the Bible may be overlooked or disregarded, leading to a skewed understanding of the intended message. 2. Dual audience approach. Dispensationalism sometimes adopts a dual audience approach, applying certain biblical passages to both the early Jewish audience and a future Gentile audience. This approach can lead to confusion and inconsistency in interpretation, as the original intent and context of the passage may be lost or distorted. 3. Time period tense relevancy. Dispensationalism's focus on future events often leads to a disconnect regarding the relevancy of time period tenses. Future events are interpreted as if they were present or future tense, disregarding the symbolic or contextual aspects intended by the biblical authors. This can result in a distorted depiction of the fulfillment of prophecy. 4. Forces literal interpretation. While literal interpretation has its merits, dispensationalism tends to force a strict literalism onto every aspect of eschatological prophecy, neglecting the symbolic, metaphorical, and apocalyptic language present in various biblical texts. This approach restricts the rich layers of meaning found within the Scriptures. 5. Lack of coherence in eschatological timeline. Dispensationalism often struggles to provide a coherent timeline for eschatological events. The insistence on compartmentalizing various dispensations and the future fulfillment of prophecy can lead to inconsistencies and contradictions within its own framework. Comparison with full preterism. Now let's compare dispensationalism to full preterism, which takes a different approach to biblical eschatology. 1. Scriptural context of full preterism. Full preterism places a strong emphasis on the scriptural context of eschatological events. Instead of projecting all prophecies into the future, it recognizes that many were fulfilled within the time frame of the biblical authors and their original audience. 2. Audience addressed in full preterism. Full preterism seeks to understand the audience to whom specific prophecies were addressed. By recognizing the historical and cultural context in which the prophecies were given, Full preterism offers a more nuanced interpretation that resonates with the original audience's understanding and expectation. 3. Time period tense relevancy in full preterism. Full preterism takes into account the relevancy of time period tenses. It acknowledges that certain prophecies were fulfilled within the lifetime of the biblical authors and their original audience, providing a coherent and consistent understanding of the fulfillment of biblical prophecy. 4. Consistency in eschatological timeline. Unlike dispensationalism, full preterism offers a more consistent eschatological timeline. By recognizing the past fulfillment of prophecies, it avoids the inconsistencies and contradictions that often arise when trying to fit future events into narrow compartments. In conclusion, dispensationalism has several flaws when compared to full preterism. These include misinterpretation of Scripture, a dual audience approach, lack of relevancy in time period tenses, reliance on strict literal interpretation, and a lack of coherence in the eschatological timeline. Full preterism offers a more contextual and consistent understanding of biblical prophecy, recognizing the past fulfillment of all prophecies. By understanding these flaws, we can develop a more comprehensive and informed view of eschatology. Thank you for watching. www.onscriptures.com